Today we are visiting the old post office located in Tintagel, Cornwall. The building was first built between 1350 and 1400. Originally it was a small-scale hall house. A hall house is a house in which there is a central hall area, and this would be the defining feature. It would be the main living space and meeting space, and the houses would usually be built for domestic living. They would usually be over 2 stories, with the hall rising over both stories open to the roof, as you will see in this building later in the video. This building is called the Old Post Office as it was used in the 1870s as the village letter receiving office. In the past it has also been a grocer's, draper's, shoemakers and dressmakers, as well as a family home. The building is made of local brown slate, which is now weathered to a grey, and some granite, such as the archway over the doorway. The roof would originally have been thatched, but was replaced in the 16th century to slate. Upon entering the building, you can browse these pre-loved books, most of which are for sale. You can also see some postal and telegram items on display, also in the entranceway after entering the building. This is a beautiful large fireplace which would probably have been added a little later after the original building was erected. There are many photographs and paintings dotted around the building, showing what the building looked like throughout the years. The wooden till that you can see here was made by a National Trust carpenter, and it was used right up until May 2018. You can take these tickets as souvenirs, and we did take 2, one each, as you can see in the picture. We now head up this very steep staircase to the south bedroom. These signs made me laugh. They're dotted around the building and a warning not to bump your head due to the very low beams and the doorways. The bed you can see is 400 years old. The bed has a feather tie mattress supported upon ropes which are threaded in a criss-cross design throughout its frame. The tightened strings which support the bed is thought to have originated the saying "sleep tight." The bed is from a farmhouse on Bodmin Moor, and as the house was nearly empty when the National Trust purchased it, nearly all the furniture has come from nearby farmhouses and cottages. It was discovered that many beams under the roof were rotten around 1992, and repair work was started by local builders. The original slates were removed and the beams were renewed or repaired before the slates were then replaced. We now head up the second steep staircase to the north bedroom. The stairs you can see here are like a ladder made of slate slabs set into the wall, and they lead to the sleeping platform where you can look down into the central hall area. The north bedroom has an iron bedstead and it's mainly made up of oak and pine furniture. We're now able to look at the amazing roof and all of these magnificent beams from up on the sleeping platform, which is where you can stand to look down over into the central hall area. And it's a really amazing experience to be able to come up here and look down over everything from up high. Another fun fact and recognised phrase originated from these sleeping platforms. Unmarried women and girls would sleep on these platforms for safety and to separate them from the men. They would remain there whilst they were unmarried, and the phrase "left on the shelf" is believed to have come from this. I love it when you find out when a recognised phrase has come from. The garden is absolutely beautiful, and we were really lucky that we were here on such a lovely sunny day. The guidebook that you can buy when you buy your ticket to go into the property explains that the garden is on 2 levels and it's designed as a cottage garden. It also says that the garden includes plants that actively encourage wildlife. Birds, butterflies, bees, bats and slowworms are all regular visitors, as well as evidence of moles and badgers. As you can see, the garden really is stunning. Here you can also see the well, and next to it is a basket with blankets to use if it's cold, but luckily we had a lovely sunny day during our visit. You can also see here a lovely miniature version of the house, which you may have noticed have been dotted around in some of the various rooms that we visited.